Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Friday, July 19th, 2024, pre-market report. Again, we really have to put a few things together here. Let's start off with this. The world today, the economies of the world, the people of the world are being systematically and deliberately erased. The current situation is this. We have central banks who are the enemy of the people to the highest order and then beyond. It's these institutions who run the entire system. With that said, we've witnessed a surging. It's actually, that's not even the right word. There's not even a term for what we have seen over the last several years here with regard to global debt hyper ballooning, with currency, central bank issued notes having their purchasing power sucked out, and we, the people of the world, are paying the price for that. What we're about to see is going to make all of that look like child's play moving forward. And I want you to understand again that if you don't take action to be on the opposite side of that, you're going to get wiped out. Wiped out. What we're leading towards, clearly, is going to rock the core of the earth. Again, when central banks fulfill their end game, that is to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. Okay, when it comes down to that, and they're right about there right now, we're about to be pushed faster into that kind of a scenario, with obviously a digital currency, more control, and unfortunately a rapidly deteriorating standard of living, which we've witnessed. Again, look, the situation is not going to stop. It can't stop. And we have our leaders playing right into that. What we heard, we'll get to that in just a moment. Actually, we'll do it right now. This Republican convention here that Trump just made a couple of very pointed and, promises to us all here. This is what he said, and I want you to take this in. Again, please keep politics out of this. I'm trying to help you out to understand the situation. He said, Trump promises massive tax cuts and an end to inflation. Now, with regard to this, it can't stop, and he knows that. We're already running deficits that the Federal Reserve has to make up again. Budget deficits, trade deficits, the national debt ballooning at a pace we've never seen before. Okay, this mechanism can't stop, and he knows it can't stop. If we were to have, for example, massive tax cuts, who makes up the difference with regard to the deficits that we're going to be running? Obviously, it's the central bank, and they are more than happy to make up the gap. We right now here in the United States, and this is not just a phenomenon here, nations around the world continue to run massive budget deficits, watching their debts in balloon as well. Who makes up the difference there? It's the central banks, who are more than happy to make up the difference, because again, the more debt they're allowed to pump into the system, the more they can devalue the currency, the stronger they become. All right, so if you recall, during President Trump's lead up to his last tenure as president, he said that he would eliminate the U.S. debt in 8 years. You don't believe he said that? Go look it up for yourself. You all know he did say that. Obviously, under his tenure, we watched the debt hyperballoon. We're about to see that on a much more dramatic scale. Now, President Trump went on to say, I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately. He knows that can't happen. And he goes on to say, these are quotes, he will bring down interest rates and lower the cost of energy. Okay, let's start with the first part. Bring down interest rates. The current situation of artificially suppressed rates has been directly responsible for the hyper-ballooning debt situation that we're in right now. And, of course, inflation. Now, let me explain this to you again, and you already know. How does a central bank lower interest rates? First of all, he cannot lower rates. What he's saying here is he's going to make sure the Fed keeps rates artificially suppressed. Now, how does a central bank do that? It has to create currency out of nothing in massive amounts, get into the market, and buy the debt. This revolving door here is massively inflationary. When currency, units of debt. What Trump is saying here is he's going to have the Fed bring down interest rates because he can't do that. He can work with the Fed. The Fed needs an ally in the White House, of course, to convince people that by lowering rates, this is what we need to gain our strength. Actually, the polar opposite is true. We need a leader here. If I were Trump in his spot, I would level with the people. I say, listen, we're in a dire spot. We need to step up to the plate as a people and realize what we need to do to allow the United States of America to once again regain its position in the world as a beacon of light, as an example for the rest of the world. If we're continuing here, and we have every single world leader doing the same thing, saying the same things here, we're gonna bring down inflation. Again, it can't be done because the process of that is inflationary itself. We're going to bring down rates here. Central bank has to create the cash out of nothing. Every time a central bank is allowed to balloon the money supply, balloon the debt, it adds to the issues of inflation. Now, lowering rates here, again, it's so simple to understand, but Trump nor anyone, no world leader is going to tell you how the mechanism works. They know how it works. Believe me, Trump knows exactly how it works. He understands that in order for the Fed to keep rates suppressed, and he's saying it here, bring down interest rates, he knows the Fed has to create massive amounts of cash out of nothing, get into the market, and buy the debt, which is what the Fed wants. The polar opposite needs to happen. You understand? Let me say this another way maybe that you can understand. The purchasing power of the currency is directly related. It can't be separated from interest rates. If interest rates and bond yields are suppressed, it steals the purchasing power away from the currency. Did that make it more clear to you? Okay. So if we understand that Trump is saying that he is going to bring down interest rates. What he's saying is, I am going to empower the Federal Reserve more so than you can possibly imagine here. Lowering the cost of energy. Let's talk about the next part of what he said. Energy. These commodities are priced in dollars. If the dollar is losing its purchasing power via this mechanism of artificially suppressing rates here, more easy money. What he can't tell you is the purchasing power of the dollar is going to be removed faster. Commodities are going to go higher. The cost of energy is going to higher. The United States, with regard to being energy dependent, people, look, this is a fallacy of the highest possible order, and there's no way that that's going to happen anytime soon, again, especially in the face of currency devaluation like we're about to see. More easy money is not going to help the situation. Artificially suppressed rates are not going to help the situation. They're going to exacerbate the situation to a much larger degree. You understand? But you can't be told these things. I was writing on this. So again, promises massive tax cuts. We're already running debts and deficits which cannot be made up. And the promise of tax cuts just means the Fed has to make up the difference, and they are more than happy to do that. Do you understand the situation that central banks have put themselves in, right to the top of that pyramid? I've been telling you they need an ally here in the White House. The last guy, this Biden thing, has also done everything in his power to make sure the Federal Reserve has been vaulted to the pinnacle of power. War. And this guy here is responsible, obviously, for the death of thousands, as is Trump with the clotbacks, warp speed. They're both responsible for death of tens of thousands, obviously. Okay, and that's something else that you're not supposed to know about, but I think we're pretty much on the same page there. Anyway, so just understanding that the mechanism is not going to stop. Tax cuts sound great on paper. More debts, more deficits. The Fed is going to have to step up and make up the difference there. With regard to, again, bringing down interest rates is what he said. Okay, he's going to do it because he has the power to print cash out of thin air and buy the debt. How does he have the power to do that? He doesn't have the power to do that, but he can sure help the Fed to do it. And that's exactly the polar opposite of what we need to do. Again, the world is in the current situation that it's in because of artificially suppressed rates, because of the currency having its purchasing power removed. What this is going to do is further speed up the end of the United States of America. It doesn't exist anymore in any way, shape, or form. Make sense to you, what I'm saying here? Or does this totally sound wrong? The rest of the world is doing the same thing. We're watching the, again, middle class be systematically eradicated. We're watching a whole set of dynamics in place that will empower the collective being central banks around the world. Now, what does this mean for you and I? This is just an incredible thing. So Trump is running this Bitcoin conference. As you know, he's the Bitcoin president now. Fundraiser tickets top out at $844,600. Personally, I wish I could attend the Trump Bitcoin conference. Again, this is another reason why I've been telling you, load up on Bitcoin. If we understand that Trump is already telling you he's the Bitcoin president, he's even running the... Look, can you imagine how rich you have to be to participate in this conference here? I would love to be there, but I think that price is a little steep. $844,600. I think the tickets started out at $60,000, but then now they're topping out at $844,000. And most of this is going to be paid in crypto. Obviously, some of the richest people on this planet here are holding a Bitcoin cryptocurrency. Trump is going to make sure Bitcoin, of course, that's what he's pointing towards. I know there's a lot of you out here, and you've written to me, and I understand that there's a lot of better cryptos out here, but Trump likes Bitcoin. He's telling you straight out of his mouth what he's going to do, and people are paying an awful lot to participate in his conference on Bitcoin. So what does this mean for you and I? Okay, again, what is the solution here? The solution is we can't stop the rapid deterioration of the system, which is being fostered by people like Trump, Biden, Obama. They're working directly with the Federal Reserve here. You have to understand, to make that institution stronger, to empower central banks around the world. The goal of central banking since day one for over a century has been to one day be the lenders and buyers of last resort, to own it all. You understand? If we understand that we are there now, and we're living in a side effect of that, the progression to that moment in time where central banks become the government of the world, which they are, okay, we know exactly what we need to do. So again, if we realize, and Trump just said it out of his mouth, he is going to bring down interest rates. I guess he has a printing press. I guess he has access to buy massive amounts of debt to keep rates suppressed. No, he doesn't. He can't tell you that. He has to phrase it in a way that makes it sound good on paper. But meanwhile, all this means is the Fed is going to get monumentally stronger. Monumentally stronger. Of course, which is the goal right now of every world leader. And you and I are losing. We are on the losing end of this. Again, does it make sense to you? Here's the question, that if we follow the trend now, again, sucking the purchasing power out of the currency, allowing central banks to inflate even more to keep rates suppressed, that we're going to follow the downward spiral that we're in now, or we all of a sudden going to become the beacon of the world. The United States is going to be the strongest nation on earth. People, come on, man. Wake up. I hope this makes sense to you. I really, really do. So what this means for you and I is it's very simple. Load up on commodities. Gold, especially silver. Crude oil. Trump is telling you that energy prices are coming down. How's that going to happen? When the price of energy is priced in dollars, which are going to be devalued further as the Fed inflates even more. And of course, all this is going to be blamed on China. And all this is going to be blamed on Biden. And all this is going to be blamed on whatever they got to blame it on here. But the truth will never be revealed to you. Again, here was another opportunity during the Republican convention for Trump to point his finger at the Federal Reserve. He's already telling you that he's going to have the Fed create massive amounts of debt out of thin air. Keep rates suppressed. Follow the trajectory we're on now, because that's where the Fed wants to be. Do the polar opposite. If Trump were a real leader, he would have said, hey, everyone, I'm going to tell you, I got a cold, hard truth to tell all of you. We need to vastly raise rates, put strength back into the dollar. Again, you can't separate rates and bond yields from the strength of the currency, in this case, the dollar. By artificially suppressing rates, you suck the purchasing power out of the dollar faster. Does that make sense to you? Duh. People know the truth when they hear it. Anyway, look, this market appears to be in somewhat of a pullback phase, which is exactly what you and I have been talking about and exactly what we want to see. This is the MMRI from this morning. This trajectory is not stopping. What this tells you and me is we need to load up on commodities. Yeah. Load up on Bitcoin. Okay. Trump, Bitcoin president, which will help. He's there to help issue in this Federal Reserve central bank digital currency. You know that, right? If you have any other delusion that that's not the case, I'm sorry. So anyway, Bitcoin, commodities, and as long as this goes down, we load up on stocks. Because let me tell you something here. Currency devaluation, artificially suppressed rates, this is going to vault the stock market even higher. The disconnect between the market and the economy is going to get even greater. But Trump is going to tell you, look at the stock market. Our economy is strong. Another absolute falsehood on a grand scale. Do you believe the economy is strong right now? Market's been hitting record high, record high, record high, record high, record high. Do you see what I'm talking about? Or is the truth still eluding you? You're unable to see it. All right, people. So the bottom line is, the solution for you and I is to bet against the system. Bet against everything you're hearing. Realize that what you're being told is all a lie. Understand? We have to see through that, and we need to take action. You know why? Because we are lions, and we have each other's backs, period. All right, people, look, I hope this has been informative to you. Load up, people. I don't know another way. I've been telling you this for how long? Load up on commodities. Load up on Bitcoin. Specifically, Trump is the Bitcoin president. Could you believe this? That if people are paying $844,000 plus to join the Bitcoin conference fundraiser? Beautiful. People, this guy here loves you all. I mean that from the heart. I want to hear from you. All right? Let me know what you think about all this stuff. And I hope you get it. Are you getting it? Are you starting to come around? I will see all of you later, 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern for my live stream. All right? See you then.